The Lone Guardian, the Awakened Goddess, Humanity's Ultimate Reward. Part 1. The massive doors of the Galactic Council's judgment chamber slid open with a deep rumble. Admiral Marcus Vega straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. He was the only human in sight, about to face the most powerful governing body in the known universe. Species: human. Planet of origin: Earth, announced a floating metallic orb as it scanned him. Proceed to the center platform. Marcus walked forward, his footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. Above and around him, tiered seating held representatives from over 1,000 worlds. Aliens of every imaginable form watched him, some with multiple eyes, others with no eyes at all, some towering 3 times his height, others floating in special atmosphere chambers. The central platform rose silently, lifting Marcus to face the Tribunal of 12, the ruling council that governed the galaxy's 50,000 inhabited worlds. Admiral Vega of Earth, said First Arbiter Zolix, his translucent skin pulsing with blue light as he spoke. You stand before us accused of a grave crime. Your species has awakened the dormant one. Murmurs and clicks rippled through the chamber. Marcus noticed several species making what he assumed were protective gestures. The penalty for disturbing cosmic balance is extinction, continued Zolix, his long fingers tapping on the crystalline desk before him. Your primitive species has meddled with forces beyond your understanding. Unlike the many species who had trembled before the council in the past, Marcus stepped forward with calm determination. We did not awaken anything, he replied, his voice steady and clear. We were chosen. The chamber erupted in outrage. Counselor Nithara, an ancient reptilian diplomat, rose from her throne. Her scaled head swayed as she hissed, Impossible! The dormant one has slept between galaxies for millions of years. No species has ever been worthy of awakening it. Marcus activated a small projector in his palm. Above the chamber floor appeared an image of Earth, blue, ordinary, seemingly unimportant. But as the image zoomed out, it revealed an intricate pattern of celestial bodies surrounding the solar system, forming what looked like a perfect cosmic lock. For billions of years, our planet orbited at the exact center of this cosmic configuration, Marcus explained. Every civilization in this chamber evolved by looking outward for meaning. Humanity looked inward. The hologram shifted to show ancient sites across Earth, standing stones in England, pyramids in Egypt, temples in South America, all precisely aligned with stars. We didn't disturb the dormant one, Marcus announced. We were always meant to be its guardian. The chamber fell silent as the council members began to realize what this meant. The projection changed to show a massive entity stirring in deep space, a cosmic being whose awakening had begun long before humans had developed spaceflight. You're not putting humanity on trial, Marcus said, his voice echoing in the stunned silence. You're facing judgment yourselves. The dormant one doesn't seek destruction. It seeks a worthy caretaker, and it chose us. As if responding to his words, every screen and display in the chamber suddenly activated, showing the same message in the ancient language of the first spacefaring civilization. The Guardian race has been selected. The council chamber descended into chaos. Representatives shouted across the room at each other. The Zeridian delegation, humanity's most vocal accusers, demanded immediate military action against Earth. Their ambassador, Taurus, a tall being with 4 arms and silvery skin, called for Earth's immediate quarantine. This human speaks lies, Taurus shouted. Their species is barely a century into space travel. They cannot possibly be the chosen guardians. The elders of Mithron, one of the galaxy's oldest surviving civilizations, called for patience and investigation. Their spokesperson, a being of pure energy contained in an ancient robotic shell, floated toward the center of the chamber. We have monitored the patterns for eons, the elder said, its voice resonating oddly as if speaking from multiple throats. The signs match our oldest prophecies. We should investigate before taking action. Guards escorted Marcus to a secured holding area while the council debated. The room was comfortable but clearly designed for containment. The walls shimmered with energy fields that would adapt to contain any known species. The door slid open after several hours. A slender figure entered, moving with unusual grace. Her skin had a faint blue tint and her eyes were entirely black without visible pupils. I am Lysithea, she said. I've been studying the dormant one for centuries. You're not with the council, Marcus observed. No, I'm a rogue archaeologist. My people, the Etherians, have been collecting myths about the Dormant One since before your species learned to use fire. She produced a small device that projected ancient symbols into the air. According to the oldest texts, the awakening isn't an apocalypse but a transition, a cosmic test to determine which species will guide the galaxy into its next phase. Marcus studied the symbols. These match patterns we found in ruins on Earth, ruins that predate human civilization. Because they weren't built by humans, Lysithea explained. They were built for humans, to prepare your species for this moment. Meanwhile on Earth, Dr. Eleanor Reeves monitored readings at the Global Quantum Observatory in Antarctica. The massive underground facility housed Earth's most sophisticated sensors, designed to detect quantum fluctuations across space. "Director, you need to see this," called her assistant. Thomas Eleanor hurried over to his station. On his screen, unprecedented energy patterns emanated from the center of the Milky Way. "These match exactly with our theoretical models of consciousness on a galactic scale," Eleanor whispered. "It's not just energy, it's thought patterns." "The Dormant One isn't just awakening," Thomas said. "It's becoming aware of itself. And somehow connected to us," Eleanor added, noticing how the patterns synchronized with global brain activity monitors. "It's reaching out to human consciousness specifically." Back in the council chambers, the debate had turned ugly. Several militaristic species led by the Zoridians refused to accept the possibility that humans could be chosen as guardians. A coalition formed, and without council approval, they launched a small fleet toward Earth. "Admiral," Lysithea said urgently as she burst back into his holding room, "your planet is under attack. A splinter faction has sent warships to your solar system." Marcus tried to contact Earth, but his communications were blocked. "We have basic orbital defenses, but nothing that could stop a determined attack by advanced species." On Earth's orbital monitoring stations, alarms blared as sensors detected multiple ships entering the solar system. The Planetary Defense System, a network of satellites with limited defensive capabilities, prepared for activation. But before Earth's defenses could respond, something unexpected happened. A shield of energy appeared around the planet, emanating from the ancient sites that Marcus had shown the Council. The shield bore the same patterns observed at archaeological digs worldwide, confirming humanity's connection to the cosmic entity. The attacking ships fired advanced weapons, but the energy simply absorbed and dissipated their attacks. After several failed attempts, they retreated to a safe distance to observe. In the council holding room, Marcus suddenly doubled over, clutching his head. "What's happening?" Lysithea asked, concerned. "I'm seeing images," Marcus gasped. "Coordinates. A location." He grabbed a datapad and frantically entered numbers. "It's somewhere near the center of the galaxy." Lysithea looked at the coordinates and her eyes widened. "That's impossible. These point to the immediate vicinity of the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's center. Nothing can survive there." "Something does," Marcus said, the vision fading. "And it's calling to us." The images in his mind shifted, showing a massive structure orbiting the black hole, a ring of unknown material that seemed to be made of the same substance as the shield now protecting Earth. "The Dormant One is guiding us there," Marcus said. "It's the next step in whatever test we're facing." Lysithea stared at him. "In all my research, no species has ever received direct communication from the Dormant One. This confirms everything in our ancient texts." The door to the holding room opened again. First Arbiter Xolix entered, flanked by guards. "The attack on your world has failed," Xolix said. "The Council is divided on how to proceed." "We need to send an expedition to these coordinates," Marcus said, showing the data he had received. Xolix studied the information. "The singularity threshold. Nothing survives there." "Something built a structure there," Marcus insisted. "Something connected to whatever is protecting Earth right now." After long deliberation, the Council made its decision. They would form an expedition to investigate the coordinates, with representatives from major galactic powers. Humanity would be permitted one delegate. "Not you, Admiral," Xolix stated. "You will remain here as a guarantee of your species' cooperation. Earth will select another representative." As Marcus was led back to his quarters, Lysithea whispered to him, "This is just the beginning. The real test of humanity is yet to come." On Earth, as the news of their cosmic selection spread, humans looked to the stars with new understanding. The shield protecting them pulsed with ancient energy, a visible reminder that humanity's destiny had never been limited to one small planet. Something vast had chosen them, and the galaxy would need. The Lone Guardian, the Awakened Goddess, humanity's ultimate reward? Part 2. The Concilium, the most advanced ship in the Galactic Council's fleet, approached the turbulent region surrounding Sagittarius A Mare, the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way. Its sleek hull gleamed against the backdrop of swirling stellar debris and intense radiation that would instantly kill most organic life forms. Dr. Alara Voss stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes reflecting the cosmic spectacle outside. As Earth's foremost expert on theoretical physics and cosmic phenomena, she had been chosen as humanity's representative for this mission. 6 other delegates from major galactic powers accompanied her, each watching her with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. Approaching. Navigation failure point announced. The ship's AI. Standard guidance systems will cease functioning in 30 seconds. Korev, the Zoridian weapons specialist with silvery skin and 4 powerful arms, laughed coldly. This is where your participation ends, human. No species has ever navigated this close to the singularity threshold. Alara ignored him, already working on a series of calculations on her datapad. Strange equations flowed from her fingers, knowledge she couldn't explain but somehow understood perfectly. Apply these navigational parameters, she instructed the ship's AI, transferring her calculations to the main system. These calculations would take our finest minds centuries to develop, muttered Talon, the avian representative from the Chrysith Alliance, his feathers rippling with concern. How did you derive them so quickly? I didn't derive them, Alara replied softly. It feels more like I remembered them. The Concilium adjusted its approach vector according to Alara's calculations. The violent shaking that had begun to rattle the ship subsided. Space-time itself warped around them, but the vessel moved through it like a needle through fabric, following precisely the path Alara had plotted. Impossible, whispered Korev. As they penetrated deeper into the region no ship had ever safely navigated, sensors detected something that defied all known laws of physics. An artificial structure orbiting impossibly close to the black hole's event horizon. A massive ring world of unknown material hung suspended in perfect balance between falling in and drifting away. The architecture? Gasped Morlia, the tentacled historian from the oceanic worlds of the deeps. It matches artifacts found in the ancient repository, and ruins found on Earth dating back 200,000 years, Alara added, recognizing the intricate patterns etched into the ring's surface. The Concilium approached the ring world, finding a docking structure that seemed designed specifically for their ship. As the airlock sealed against the alien structure, sensors confirmed a breathable atmosphere inside. The composition of the ring isn't in our materials database, reported the science officer, a crystalline being named Ithex. It appears to be living matter. The expedition team crossed onto the ring world's surface. The material beneath their feet glowed softly in response to their footsteps, creating rippling patterns that spread outward. When Alara's boot touched the surface, the response was dramatically different. The entire visible section of the ring pulsed with golden light, and symbols appeared along the walls of the corridor before them. It's responding specifically to human contact, Morlia observed, her tentacles curling with scientific excitement. The team followed the illuminated pathway to a vast chamber at what appeared to be the ring world's control center. A circular platform dominated the room, surrounded by what looked like data interfaces. When Alara approached, the central platform activated, projecting a 3-dimensional map of the entire Milky Way galaxy. Drawn by instinct she couldn't explain, Alara placed her hand on what seemed to be a control interface. The entire structure hummed to life, and the walls of the chamber became transparent, revealing a repository of knowledge beyond comprehension. A library containing the collective wisdom of civilizations that predated even the oldest council. Race's information flowed into Alara's mind, not overwhelming her but fitting perfectly into place, as if filling gaps in knowledge she was meant to have. She saw the truth about the Dormant One, not a destructive force but a guardian consciousness, a living embodiment of balance that had guided evolution across the galaxy for billions of years. Every few million years, it selects a species to serve as its physical anchors, Ilara explained to the others, her voice distant as the knowledge continued to flow into her. Its guardians are chosen based on their potential for both compassion and resilience. Why humans? Demanded Korev. Your species is primitive, violent, divided. Because humanity was engineered from the beginning, Ilara replied, seeing the truth unfold in her mind. Subtly guided through evolutionary bottlenecks and cosmic catastrophes, shaped to develop both the intelligence and empathy necessary for this role. The archaeological sites on Earth weren't just monuments but anchor points, maintaining a connection to the dormant one even as it slumbered. The seemingly random pattern of human development, the rapid advancement in technology paired with an equally evolving capacity for compassion, had been guided, not random at all. As this revelation unfolded, the ship's sensors detected multiple fleets converging on their position. Zoridian warships, Talon reported, checking the readings. At least 30 vessels heavily armed. I sent a message before we left the council station, Korev admitted without shame. My government will not allow this human deception to continue. It's not just Zoridians, Ithex added, their crystalline form refracting light nervously. I'm detecting ships from the Havoc Collective and the Sundered Dominion as well. They're forming a battle group. They've also established a blockade around Earth, Morlia reported, her tentacles manipulating the communication array. Your planet has been cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Ilara felt the danger through her connection to the Ring world systems. The approaching fleets intended to destroy not just the Ring but Earth as well, fearing what humanity might become with access to such power. We need to activate the Ring's defenses, Talon suggested, looking to Ilara. If it truly is connected to the entity protecting your world, it must have some way to defend itself. Ilara hesitated. The knowledge flowing into her mind warned that fully connecting with the Ring world systems would accelerate the dormant one's awakening before humanity had completed the necessary preparations. But with enemy ships closing in, there seemed no choice. There are 3 phases to the awakening process, she explained. Connection, understanding, and transcendence. By activating the Ring's defenses, we'll trigger the connection phase prematurely. Better than being destroyed, Korev said, surprising everyone with his support. Despite his earlier hostility, the weapons specialist seemed affected by what they'd discovered. Ilara placed both hands on the main interface. The living material of the Ring flowed up her arms, not hurting her but connecting with her at a cellular level. She felt her consciousness expand beyond her physical form, seeing the galaxy not as a collection of stars but as a living, breathing entity, with humanity as its newly awakened nervous system. Through this expanded awareness, she witnessed events happening simultaneously across space. On Earth, millions of humans suddenly stopped whatever they were doing, looking skyward as they felt a momentary connection to something vast and ancient. The planetary shield strengthened, its golden energy spreading to cover Earth's moon and nearby space. Admiral Marcus Vega, still held by the Galactic Council, collapsed to his knees as the same connection flowed through him. First Arbiter Zolix watched in astonishment as the human began speaking in the ancient language of the precursors, the first civilization to span the galaxy. The Guardian awakens, Marcus said, his eyes glowing with the same golden energy that now surrounded Earth. The cycle continues. At the Ring world, Ilara directed its defenses against the approaching fleet. Instead of conventional weapons, the structure emitted waves of golden energy that enveloped the attacking ships. Rather than destroying them, it forced their crews to experience a fraction of the cosmic awareness that Ilara now shared, giving them a glimpse of what humanity was beginning to shoulder. Most ships retreated immediately, their crews overwhelmed by the experience. Only the Zoridian command vessel continued its approach, its weapons charging. Your species once came close to being chosen, Ilara said to Korev, knowledge flowing through her. But you failed because of your inherent aggression. For millions of years, your leaders have sabotaged potential guardian species out of spite and jealousy. Korev looked away, unable to deny the truth he now understood through the Ring's influence. Help me stop them, Ilara said. Break this cycle of sabotage. After a moment's hesitation, Korev activated his personal communicator. This is Commander Korev of the Zoridian Elite Guard. Stand down immediately. I repeat, stand down. What we face here is not a threat but a transition we have awaited for eons. The Zoridian vessel hesitated, then powered down its weapons, The other ships maintained their distance, unwilling to retreat completely but no longer attacking. Through her connection with the ring world, Ilara sent a message back to Earth, not in words but in concepts and images that key individuals would understand. The first phase had begun. Humanity needed to prepare for the understanding phase. Why? The Lone Guardian, the Awakened Goddess, humanity's ultimate reward? Part 3. Earth hung in space, surrounded by a shimmering golden shield that pulsed like a heartbeat. The alien blockade maintained a respectful distance, their weapons powered down but sensors actively monitoring the unprecedented phenomenon. On the planet's surface, humanity faced a transformation unlike anything in its history. Commander Darius Ward stood at the window of the Unified Defense Command headquarters in Geneva, watching as patterns of light danced across the night sky, reflections of the shield that now protected their world. The room behind him buzzed with activity as military and scientific personnel tracked the global changes occurring by the hour. "Sir, we're detecting unusual brain activity across all monitored populations," reported Lieutenant Kira Naidu, her fingers dancing across her console. "It's not harmful, but it's synchronized. People separated by thousands of miles are experiencing identical brainwave patterns." Darius nodded, unsurprised. Ever since the initial energy surge 3 days ago, reports had flooded in from around the world, people experiencing shared dreams, visions of stars and ancient civilizations, and a growing sense of connection to something vast and incomprehensible. "Any word from Admiral Vega or the expedition team?" he asked. "Nothing direct," Kira replied. "All conventional communications with the Council Station and the expedition ship remain blocked. But we're picking up these data packets embedded in the shield's energy matrix." She gestured to streams of symbols flowing across her screen. "Dr. Rivera says they contain information about something called the understanding phase." The main doors slid open, and a security team entered, escorting an unexpected visitor. The alien stood slightly shorter than the human guards, with blue-tinted skin and entirely black eyes without visible pupils. Despite the tense situation, she moved with serene grace. "Commander Ward," the security chief announced. "This is Lysithea. She claims to have information about what's happening to Earth. She appeared inside our security perimeter 10 minutes ago. Just materialized in the reception area. The transport technology was provided by sympathetic members of the Council," Lysithea explained. "I've been working with Admiral Vega. Time is short and I bring critical information." Darius dismissed the security team and led Lysithea to the command center's main briefing room. As they walked, he noticed how personnel stopped to stare at the alien. Most humans had never seen a non-terrestrial being in person before. "The Dormant One's awakening follows a specific sequence," Lysithea explained once they were seated. "It has happened before millions of years ago with another species called the Lumerians." "What happened to them?" Darius asked. "They failed the test of guardianship," Lysithea replied solemnly. "They were reduced to primitive existence on a forgotten world at the edge of the galaxy. Their civilization collapsed, their technology lost." She activated a small device that projected a three-dimensional model of a DNA double helix, but with additional structures intertwined with the familiar pattern. "The metamorphosis has 3 phases: connection, understanding, and transcendence. Your species has initiated connection through your representative at the ring world, but understanding requires a global synchronization of consciousness." The shared dreams, Darius realized. Yes. No species has achieved this synchronization without tearing itself apart. The Lumerians fractured into warring factions, each claiming exclusive connection to the cosmic consciousness. Across Earth, the shared dreams intensified. Billions of humans experienced visions of ancient stars, civilizations lost to time, and a presence vast beyond comprehension watching over everything. Some interpreted these as divine messages, others as an alien attack on human minds. Religious leaders proclaimed prophecies fulfilled, scientists scrambled for explanations, and governments struggled to maintain order as people abandoned daily routines to discuss their shared experiences. Lysithea and Commander Ward identified a pattern that others had missed. The shared dreams were strongest at Earth's ancient archaeological power points: Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, Göbekli Tepe, and 11 other sites forming a perfect dodecahedron around the planet. These sites were constructed as receivers, Lysithea explained. showing Ward ancient texts she had collected over centuries, designed to prepare humanity gradually over millennia for this moment. But who built them? Ward asked. Some of these structures predate human civilization. The previous guardians, Lysithea replied. Before they failed their final test, they seeded many worlds with these structures, hoping that someday a worthy species would arise. At the ring world orbiting the supermassive black hole, Dr. Alara Voss's physical form was changing. The living material of the ring had formed a cocoon around her, suspending her in a state between physical existence and pure energy. Her consciousness expanded exponentially, experiencing existence across multiple dimensions simultaneously. She witnessed the birth and death of stars, the rise and fall of countless civilizations, and the patient cultivation of life across the galaxy, all orchestrated by the entity humanity now called the Dormant One, but which named itself simply Balance. Through this expanded awareness, Alara discovered the full truth behind the Zeridian Empire's opposition to humanity's ascension. Their species had once come close to being chosen but failed due to their inherent aggression. For millions of years, they had sabotaged potential guardian species out of spite and jealousy. The expedition members watched in awe as Alara's cocoon pulsed with increasing energy. The Zoridian representative, Korev, had undergone a profound change of his own, humbled by the understanding forced upon him by the ring world's defenses. "We were wrong about humans," he admitted to the others. "My people have been wrong for millions of years, sabotaging every species that showed guardian potential. Can you communicate with your fleet?" asked Talon, the avian representative. "The blockade around Earth must end if humans are to complete the understanding phase." "My government has declared me a traitor," Korev replied bitterly. "But there are others among my kind who have long suspected the truth. I can reach them." Inside her cocoon of living energy, Alara became aware of a new threat. The attacking fleet had retreated, but a single Zeridian vessel had launched a stealth probe toward the black hole, a device designed to create a localized temporal disruption that would destabilize the delicate balance maintaining the ring world's orbit. With a thought, she extended her awareness, reaching through space to connect with the probe. Instead of destroying it, she reprogrammed it, transforming its destructive purpose into a communication array that strengthened the connection between the ring world and Earth. Back on Earth, Commander Ward and Lysithea coordinated a global effort to activate all 12 archaeological sites simultaneously. Teams of scientists and military personnel were dispatched to each location, guided by the ancient texts Lysithea had provided. "If we can strengthen these anchor points," she explained, "it will stabilize humanity's collective consciousness during the understanding phase. Without this stabilization, the psychic shock could fracture your species into isolated pockets of awareness, each experiencing a different version of reality." As teams positioned themselves at the ancient sites, resistance emerged. Some religious extremists saw the awakening as a divine event being corrupted by government interference. Others feared alien control of human minds. Armed groups converged on several sites, determined to stop the activation. At Stonehenge, a tense standoff developed between security forces and protesters. As violence seemed inevitable, something extraordinary happened. A young woman stepped between the opposing groups, her eyes glowing with golden light. "I see you," she said simply, looking at each person in turn. "I see your fears, your hopes, your love for your families. We are all connected now." One by one, the protesters lowered their weapons as they recognized the shared consciousness flowing through the woman, the same presence they had all experienced in their dreams. Similar scenes played out at other sites around the world as individuals spontaneously manifested stronger connections to the developing consciousness network. As the 12 sites began to activate, Commander Ward received reports of a new phenomenon. The ancient stones were resonating with energy, emitting tones that harmonized across continents despite the vast distances separating them. "It's working," Lysithea whispered, her black eyes reflecting the patterns of energy now visible in the air around them. From orbit, the blockading fleet witnessed a spectacular sight. Earth began to emanate patterns of light visible from space, forming intricate mandalas that shifted and pulsed like a heartbeat. The patterns matched exactly those found on the ring world and in the oldest artifacts known to the galaxy. In the council chambers, Admiral Vega felt the energy surging through him. First Arbiter Zolix and the other council members watched in amazement as the human's body briefly glowed with the same golden light now surrounding Earth. The understanding phase has begun, Vega announced, his voice once again carrying the harmonic overtones of the ancient precursor language. Humanity is becoming one with the Guardian consciousness. On Earth, as all 12 sites reached full activation, something unprecedented occurred. For a brief moment, lasting no more than 60 seco. You're the lone guardian, the awakened goddess, humanity's ultimate reward. Part 4. 3 months after the global consciousness event, Earth had transformed in ways both subtle and profound. The alien blockade had retreated to a respectful distance, monitoring rather than threatening. The golden shield remained, though it had become almost transparent, visible only when light struck it at certain angles. Admiral Marcus Vega stepped off the transport vessel onto Earth soil for the first time since his journey to the Galactic Council. The landing pad at the Geneva spaceport was crowded with officials and media, but his attention was drawn to the ordinary citizens gathered beyond the security barriers. He could feel their connection to him, not mind-reading but an enhanced empathy that humanity now shared. "Welcome home, Admiral," said Commander Darius Ward, stepping forward to greet him. The two men clasped hands, and for a moment, their thoughts aligned perfectly, sharing not just words but concepts, emotions, and understanding that would have taken hours to communicate before. "The Council has officially recognized Earth's new status," Marcus explained as they walked toward the waiting vehicles. "I'm here as their liaison." "They're afraid, Darius. Afraid of what we're becoming." The drive to the Unified Command headquarters provided Marcus his first real look at how Earth had changed. People moved differently now, with greater awareness of those around them. Traffic flowed with unusual harmony, drivers anticipating each other's movements. Even the air felt different, cleaner, as if humanity's new consciousness had already begun addressing environmental damage. "The archaeological sites have become permanent nexus points," Darius explained, gesturing toward the horizon where one of the energy spires was visible, reaching kilometers into the sky. "People make pilgrimages to them, not for religious reasons exactly, but to strengthen their connection to the whole." At headquarters, they met with Lysithea, who had become Earth's unofficial expert on the Guardian transition. The Etherian moved with the same grace as always, but Marcus noticed new patterns of light shifting beneath her. Blue-tinted skin, she too was changing through contact with humanity's evolving consciousness. The understanding phase is progressing, faster than any historical precedent, she told them, displaying data on a holographic projection. "Global conflicts have largely ceased. Nations continue to exist, but cooperation has replaced competition as the dominant interaction mode." "What about the final phase?" Marcus asked. "Transcendence?" Lysithea's expression grew serious. "According to ancient records, the transcendence trial differs for each potential guardian species, tailored to test their specific weaknesses. For the Lumarians, who were physically powerful but emotionally stunted, it tested their capacity for compassion." "And for humans?" Darius asked. "With your rich emotional landscape but tendency toward division, I believe it will test unity in the face of temptation." As if on cue, the building's alarms activated. Lieutenant Naidu rushed into the room, her face tense. "Sir, we're detecting simultaneous energy signatures from the lunar surface," she reported. 12 structures have appeared on the moon, each aligned with one of the Earth nexus points. Telescopic images showed 12 previously unknown structures now visible on the lunar surface. These moon bases, dormant for millions of years, had activated simultaneously, each emitting a narrow beam of energy toward its corresponding Earth site. "They're transmitting data," Naidu said, "massive amounts of information, directed specifically at different human nations and regions. Within hours, leaders from around the world reported receiving what they described as offers, each tailored to exploit historical desires and vulnerabilities of different human cultures and nations. The North American Alliance was offered advanced propulsion technology. The Pan-African Union received designs for unlimited clean energy generation. The Eastern Coalition was given access to biological immortality research. Other regions received weather control systems, molecular manufacturing plans, or quantum communication networks. The fragmentation trial has begun," Lysithea explained grimly. Each nation must choose whether to accept their individual gift, potentially gaining advantage over others, or to reject it in favor of collective advancement. Has any species ever passed this test? Marcus asked. No previous species has ever unanimously chosen unity, Lysithea admitted. The Lumerians came closest, with only one of their 7 dominant groups choosing individual power. But even that was enough to fail the trial. As global leaders debated their responses, humanity's new shared consciousness became both a strength and a vulnerability. The enhanced empathy allowed people to understand each other's perspectives better than ever before. But it also meant everyone could feel the temptation to accept these powerful gifts. At the ring world orbiting the supermassive black hole, Dr. Ilara Voss monitored Earth's situation through her expanded awareness. No longer conventionally human, she existed as a consciousness distributed between the ring world and Earth, able to manifest as a holographic presence when needed. She appeared now in the United Nations Assembly Hall, where representatives from every nation had gathered to discuss the lunar offers. Her form shimmered with golden energy, familiar yet transformed. What we're being offered isn't wealth or power, she explained, her voice resonating with harmonics that touched something deep in the human mind, but final proof of our worthiness. The gifts are magnificent, but accepting them individually would create exactly the imbalance that the dormant one, balance, exists to prevent. Why offer them at all then? Asked the representative from Brazil. Why tempt us if unity is what's required? Because worthiness cannot be assumed, it must be demonstrated, Ilara replied. Our strength has always been our diversity unified by common purpose. These gifts would fracture that unity, setting us on different evolutionary paths until we could no longer connect or even comprehend each other. The debate continued across the world. In most regions, the shared consciousness fostered understanding and cooperation, but human nature hadn't fundamentally changed. Ambition, fear, and desire for security still existed, now amplified by the potential of these advanced technologies. Meanwhile, the Zeridian Empire made its final move. Having infiltrated Earth's defense systems through sympathizers, they broadcast a message to every communication device on the planet. The message came from the Zoridian High Command, represented by Supreme Director Malarix, his silvery skin and 4 arms adorned with symbols of ancient authority. People of Earth, the message began. You have been deceived. The entity you call the Dormant One is not a natural cosmic force but a creation of our ancestors. The entire Guardian selection process is our own invention, an elaborate test we have used for millions of years to identify and eliminate potential rival species. The broadcast included what appeared to be irrefutable evidence, ancient Zoridian records showing the construction of the ring world, the placement of archaeological sites on Earth, even the engineering of human DNA to create the appearance of being chosen. The shared consciousness you now experience is not evolution but control. A network, allowing us to monitor and eventually subsume your minds into our collective. The lunar gifts are the final stage of this process, designed to create dependence on Zoridian technology. Across Earth, doubt spread like a virus, weakening the shared consciousness that had begun to unify humanity. Was their cosmic destiny merely an alien deception? Were they special at all? Or simply the latest victims in an ancient interstellar game? Admiral Vega, Commander Ward, and Lysithea analyzed the Zoridian claims in the Crisis Command Center. The evidence looks convincing, Darius admitted, reviewing the technical specifications of supposedly Zoridian-created archaeological sites. Too convincing, Marcus replied, noticing something odd in the data. Look at these dating patterns. They claim these structures are 12 million years old, the age of the Zoridian Empire. But our carbon dating puts the Earth sites at over 200 million years. Lysithea examined the evidence more closely. There are other inconsistencies. The Zoridians claim to have created the ring world, but the materials technology shown here is fundamentally different from the actual composition of the ring. As they dug deeper, they discovered subtle contradictions in the Zoridian narrative, discrepancies in the timeline, technological impossibilities, and philosophical inconsistencies that only a species with humanity's particular cognitive abilities would notice. They're exploiting our self-doubt, Marcus realized. Our tendency to question our own worthiness. It's another aspect of the transcendence trial. not just resisting the temptation of individual gifts but maintaining faith in our purpose even when faced with apparent evidence against it. The team worked quickly to compile their analysis and broadcast it worldwide, highlighting the flaws in the Zoridian deception. But doubt had taken root, and the shared consciousness that had unified humanity was fragmenting as people questioned everything they had experienced. In this moment of crisis, an unexpected development occurred. Ordinary citizens worldwide began a spontaneous demonstration of unity. Using the lingering consciousness connection from the understanding phase, billions of humans joined in a moment of collective meditation, focusing on the 12 activation sites around the Pele. The Lone Guardian, the Awakened Goddess, Humanity's Ultimate Reward. Part 5. The United Nations headquarters in New York had been rebuilt after the understanding phase, transformed into a crystalline structure that amplified human connection to the growing cosmic consciousness. Representatives from every nation gathered in the central chamber, where holographic displays showed the 12 lunar structures, each still offering its technological gift to a different region of Earth. The deadline for accepting or rejecting these offers was minutes away. Tension filled the room as delegates prepared to announce their decisions. Outside, billions watched through the global network, their minds partially linked through the consciousness web that now connected all humanity. Admiral Vega and Commander Ward stood at the back of the chamber, observing silently. They had done all they could to expose the Zoridian deception. Now the choice belonged to humanity as a whole, each nation deciding independently, their collective decisions determining whether Earth would pass or fail the Transcendence trial. The first votes are coming in, Darius murmured, watching the display board. One by one, nations announced their decisions. The North American Alliance rejected the propulsion technology. The Pan-African Union declined the unlimited energy generation system. The Eastern Coalition refused biological immortality research. As each decision was registered, the corresponding lunar structure dimmed slightly, its offered gift withdrawn. The pattern was clear. Humanity was choosing unity over individual advancement. But for the trial to succeed, the rejection had to be unanimous. A single acceptance would fail the test. In orbit, the Zoridian fleet watched with growing alarm. Supreme Director Malarix paced his command deck, all four arms tense with frustration. 28 rejections confirmed, reported his tactical officer. No acceptances yet. Prepare the temporal weapon, Malarix ordered. Target Earth's moon. If they complete this trial, fire immediately. On the lunar surface, the 12 structures began to pulse in harmony as more nations rejected their gifts. But as the final votes approached, an unexpected dissent emerged. The delegate from Nova Terra, a recently established nation formed from climate refugees on artificial islands in the Pacific, rose to speak. My people have suffered more than most from humanity's past mistakes, he announced. We were displaced by rising seas, forgotten by the nations that now speak of unity. The molecular manufacturing technology offered to us would ensure our survival regardless of what happens to the rest of the world. We choose to accept this gift. A murmur ran through the assembly. One acceptance would fail the trial for all humanity. The lunar structure aligned with Nova Terra brightened, preparing to transmit its technological package. In that critical moment, a holographic form materialized in the center of the chamber. Dr. Ilara Voss, her appearance now more energy than physical, patterns of golden light flowing through her translucent body. Before you finalize this decision, she said, addressing the Nova Terran delegate directly, there is something you should experience. With a gesture, she created a connection between the delegate's mind and the shared consciousness, stronger and clearer than what humanity had experienced before. Through this enhanced link, he felt not just the thoughts but the hearts of people around the world, including those who had once ignored his people's plight, but now understood it as their own suffering. This is what we stand to gain, Alara explained. Not just technology, but understanding that transcends words. Your people's pain is real, but it is now shared by all humanity. Your future is secured not by separation, but by union. The delegate stood silent for a long moment, tears streaming down his face as he experienced the genuine commitment of humanity to ensure Nova Terra's prosperity as part of the collective ascension. Nova Terra changes its vote, he finally announced. We reject the individual gift and choose unity with all Earth. As the final lunar structure dimmed, accepting humanity's rejection, the 12 sites began to pulse with increasing energy. The artificial moon revealed its true nature, glowing with power accumulated over millions of years of patient waiting. In orbit around the supermassive black hole, the ring world, now fully integrated with Alara's consciousness, activated its final protocol. The structure reconfigured into a massive lens, focusing energy from the black hole itself into a beam that traveled instantaneously to Earth's moon. "Now," shouted Supreme Director Malarix on the Zoridian command ship, "fire the temporal weapon!" The Zoridian fleet launched its desperate attack, firing a device designed to create a localized time distortion that would prevent the transcendence from completing. The weapon, violating every treaty in the galaxy, streaked toward Earth's moon, carrying enough power to fracture the timeline itself. But before it could reach its target, something unexpected happened. The golden shield that had protected Earth expanded rapidly outward, enveloping not just the planet but its moon as well. The Zoridian weapon detonated against this barrier, its temporal distortion contained and neutralized. The transcendence began. The moon emitted harmonizing beams of light that converged on Earth, bathing the planet in golden energy. Every human felt the change. Not a loss of identity, but an enhancement of what made them uniquely human. Each person retained their individual perspective while gaining access to a shared reservoir of cosmic understanding. Admiral Vega, standing at the UN podium as the transformation unfolded, felt the presence of the fully awakened cosmic entity. No longer the dormant one, but now the guardian goddess, a name that captured both its nurturing and protective aspects. Through their connection, he understood its true nature, not a deity or alien intelligence, but a fundamental force of existence. Consciousness itself evolved to maintain balance in the universe. "The guardian goddess shares its purpose with us," Vega announced, his voice carrying the harmonic overtones of deeper understanding. "The universe exists in cycles of expansion and contraction, creation and entropy. Each cycle requires guardians to preserve the essence of existence, the patterns, knowledge and consciousness, developed over billions of years, and carry them forward into the next cosmic iteration." The assembled delegates and the billions watching worldwide comprehended the enormous responsibility they had inherited. Humanity hadn't just been chosen as galactic caretakers, but as the inheritors and preservers of all that had ever been. "We are not becoming gods," Vega continued, "but guardians of something far more precious than power. The continuous thread of consciousness that gives meaning to existence itself." In orbit, the Zoridian fleet launched a final desperate attack against Earth, unwilling to accept humanity's success where they had failed. Instead of retaliating with destruction, humanity extended the transcendence field to encompass the attacking ships. The Zoridians experienced what humans now understood. That guardianship wasn't about power but responsibility, not dominance but stewardship. The ancient spite that had driven them to sabotage countless species dissolved in the face of this understanding. Malarix, Supreme Director of the Zoridian Empire, felt millennia of bitterness and jealousy wash away as the transcendence field touched his mind. He saw with perfect clarity how his civilization had twisted the Guardian trials into a tool for maintaining their own power, how they had betrayed their original purpose. "Stand down all weapons," he ordered, his voice breaking with emotion. "We have been wrong for so long." In the days that followed, Earth took its place as the new center of galactic cooperation. The Galactic Council relocated its headquarters to the lunar structures, acknowledging humanity's role not as conquerors or rulers but as guardians, protectors of balance across the cosmos. The transformed Dr. Voss, existing between human and cosmic awareness, became the voice of the guardian goddess, guiding humanity as they began their eternal duty. Through her, the knowledge of countless civilizations, many long extinct, flowed back into the galaxy, preserving wisdom that would otherwise have been lost forever. Humanity's evolution didn't stop with transcendence but entered a new phase of growth. The enhanced consciousness that now connected all humans didn't eliminate differences or conflicts but transformed how they were understood and resolved. Individual perspectives remained vital, the diversity of human thought becoming one of their greatest strengths as Guardians Admiral Vega stood with Commander Ward on the observation deck of the new Galactic Council headquarters, watching Earth rotate slowly below them. The planet glowed with subtle energy, nexus points pulsing in harmony with the cosmic rhythm that connected all conscious beings. "Do you ever wonder if we deserve this?" Darius asked quietly. "Given our history, our mistakes?" "I used to," Marcus replied. "But now I understand that we weren't chosen because we were perfect. We were chosen because we never stopped trying to be better. On Earth, humanity continued its daily life, but with a profound new dimension. Farmers tended their fields with an awareness of how their actions affected the balance of life across the planet. Scientists pursued knowledge with a deeper understanding of how discovery connected to the cosmic whole. Children grew up knowing they were part of something vast and eternal. The archaeological sites that had once been mysterious ancient monuments now served as education.